If you make games, one of the most important things that you can do to keep yourself inspired and full of creative ideas is to play other games. And so with that in mind, we have created a list of 5 indie games that you need to check out. And I feel like this needs to be said, no one needs to see another video about Hollow Knight or Stardew Valley or Celeste or Undertale. If you haven't heard of those games, then I have no idea how you found this video. But those games will not be included on this list because I'm hoping that each and every one of you will find a new game to play from this list. So let's check out number 5. Ape Out is a super stylized smash 'em up game developed by 3 people in the Unity game engine. The graphics are definitely pretty unique, and in this case, I think it helps bring a lot of clarity to the game. This game is pure chaos. There are guards with all kinds of weapons and explosives around every corner, but the simplistic art style makes it super clear what's going on at all times. You don't have a health bar, but you get a pretty good idea of how much health you have left by how much blood trails behind you. And what I really like about this game is the weird perspective top-down view. You really can't see what's behind every single corner, so you need to act quickly when you do see an enemy. This camera perspective makes every single encounter feel immersive and frantic. The gameplay is so simple, yet it's completely addicting. You basically have 2 choices. You can crush the guards by pushing them into walls or throwing them off the roof of a building, or you can use them as a body shield, which gives you a sort of ranged attack option because the guards will always shoot after you grab them. I initially thought a jazz track was a bit weird for such a violent game, but it actually adds to the intensity because the music is completely dynamic, reacting to your every move and getting fast and intense as the chaos builds up around you, and slowing down when you've eliminated all the threats. This is a game you can pick up for 5 minutes and still have a good time, but it will keep you hooked for hours. Number 4. Environmental Station Alpha is a really fun, retro-themed Metroidvania developed by a team of 2 using the Multimedia Fusion 2 engine. This game is a weird one for me because based on the name of the game and the graphics of the game, I never would have picked this gem up if it weren't for a recommendation from a YouTube video I watched a while back. But this game is really solid. It plays a lot like Super Metroid, except they fixed all the annoying stuff like the gravity and the combat. The controls are super tight and combat feels really fair. And while I wasn't initially a fan of the pixel art graphics in this game, I actually fell in love with it within 2 minutes of playing this game. Each area is distinct and the game is shockingly atmospheric with a really nice ambient soundtrack to help get you immersed in the world. Now, this game has a heavy emphasis on exploration. There are secrets all over the place, so for all you Metroidvania lovers that like to explore every nook and cranny, this game is perfect for you. I will say the game can be very difficult. Some of the boss fights are pretty hard, but as I mentioned, the combat is extremely fair. So once you get a rhythm for the fight, it feels easier, and there are quite a few boss fights. Number 3. Katana Zero is a really flashy neo-noir action platformer made by just one guy in the Game Maker Studio 2 engine. I don't even know where to start with this game. The combat is insane. I found myself dying on purpose in several spots just so that I could start over and replay certain sections of the level because they felt so good to get through. This game has instant death, so you'll generally have to try each level multiple times before you get it right. But I cannot think of another game that has such juicy 2D combat. I actually want to open it back up just to study it. You have a sword that can deflect bullets, you can pick up objects and throw them, you can dash, and you can slow down time. And with just these abilities, you will smash your way through dozens of enemies at lightning speed and feel really good about it at the end of each section. The story is really rich and gets slowly unraveled one piece at a time as you progress through the game. I also found interacting with NPCs to be really interesting because you can take this really aggressive stance and be rude to people, which usually comes with consequences. Or you can slow down and actually read the dialogue, and other dialogue options will open up, and the NPCs will be a little bit nicer to you. The pacing of the game is also perfect because the gameplay is divided up with sections of story after each level, and the entire time I played, I was either hooked on the gameplay or hooked on the story. Number 2. Neversong is a really atmospheric, story-rich hack-and-slash platformer developed by one guy, Thomas Brush, in the Unity game engine. This game really plays similarly to a Zelda game. You'll uncover new gear and new songs in order to help you progress further in the game, and I loved it. If there is one thing Neversong brings to the table, it is atmosphere. This game is oozing with personality behind every corner. Every line of dialogue dialogue, every cutscene, every enemy, they are all so unique. I felt like I was playing a game that was made by Tim Burton, if Tim Burton made games. Neversong is haunting. I really don't know quite how to describe it. Most games don't make me feel much on an emotional level, but this game touched me. There's this dreary, somber, and almost sad undertone to the game's environment, yet combined with strangely playful, childish, and dreamlike characters and other elements, and the two come together in this weird way that makes me feel like I'm playing a game straight from my childhood imagination. I have never played a game quite like it. The game is juicy as hell, and I don't know what it is about the dialogue in this game, but I read and reread some lines just because there was something about the sound effects and the pop of the buttons coming on screen that was just super satisfying to watch. There's voice acting for every character, for every line of dialogue, and it's all really well done. And though I found the combat just a little too easy for my personal taste, I'll be picking this game up again very soon because games like this don't come around very often. Number 1. Cult of the Lamb is a really rare specimen, and while I'm sure most of you have heard of this title, it's just too good to not be at the top of this list. This base building, hack and slash, roguelike combo was made by a team of 5 using the Unity game engine. And this game has the trifecta of good game design. It has visual hooks, it has story hooks, and it has mechanical hooks. In this wonderfully weird game, you play as a cult leader and try to grow a flock of as many loyal followers as you can. I plowed through this really fast, and honestly, I haven't been so engrossed by a game since I first discovered Hollow Knight. This game kept me hooked the entire way through. You'll need to find a balance between adventuring out on crusades, where you'll fight a huge variety of monsters in procedurally generated maps, using a random weapon and random spells, and staying home to take care of your cult. You have to manage your flock's faith, give sermons, perform rituals, decide what to do with your dead, and what to do with your dissenting followers, as well as build a base that your followers are happy with. And this is going to include build a place for them to sleep, cook them food that you grew and harvested, collect resources, and clean up their poop, and heal them when they're sick. The game's aesthetic is such a weird combination of adorable customizable creatures and dark and twisted violence that somehow just works. This is one of those games where, kind of like with Stardew Valley, you'll say, just one more day. I'm just gonna go one more day. There you have it, 5 indie games to help inspire you on your development journey. Be sure to let us know which one of these is your favorite down below, or if we should have covered one that we didn't, let us know that game down below as well. Like the video if you liked. Bye. I want to give a very special thank you to all of our Hall of Fame patrons, Jakob Yondok, Zonder Kessler, Darren Perrine, Throbbing Wind, Fontaine Waite, Couch, and Christopher Nichols, as well as our early access patrons, Zyoma, Ken Waite, Mason Crow, Mr. D, and Outdo Games. If you choose to support us on Patreon, you can get early access to all of our YouTube videos, monthly alpha builds, and more.